Connecticut. So those of you here in Columbia who missed Ben and Joyce for the past last weekend or so, they were up in Connecticut to visit. Her son Larry, who unfortunately is not here tonight, is actually, I think he is a former CBS radio correspondent from Jerusalem. So I'm sure any of you who've listened to CBS radio have heard Lawrence Rifkin reporting from Jerusalem. We're real proud of all of you. Next, I'd like to introduce my Aunt Pauline. And she is on her way to camp this summer. She is a counselor in a camp. Actually, she works in the canteen. And we're real proud of Pauline. Pauline is Ben's older sister.
How old is she?
We're not saying. If she wants to say, she can say.
Very happy anniversary.
I want you to know my big sister is 89 years old.
Next, I'd like to introduce Bella and Jack.
Good or bad?
Good. She cheats at bridge. Florence is part of the bridge group on Mondays, which includes Florence, Fran Berry, Libby Paul, Ida Weisberg, Marion Fleischman, and Sylvia Kramer. And by the way, Florence is also Barbara Savage's mother. Barbara is our lovely photographer tonight. Fran Berry, please stand up. Fran, as I said, is one of our oldest friends here in Columbia. Fran and Joyce used to be brownie counselors together. Advisors, counselors? Leaders, brownie leaders.
Don't you know anything?
No. I was never a Girl Scout. Let me see, who did I leave out? Sister Barbara.
Your son.
She's the mother of our assistant MC tonight. Now there are several others I haven't mentioned tonight. And let me read the announcement for these people. And anybody left out in this description is a deliberate and meant to relieve you of any embarrassment. I'm going to give you all the opportunity now if any of you have anything that you'd like to say. I'll do it now before I start my speech and you all fall asleep. Okay.
What does that mean, Rabbi?
Praise you, O Lord our God, sovereign of the universe, who has kept us in life and sustained us, permitted us to reach this moment of joy.
That's it.
Why don't we take about a 5 or 10 minute break? Take a break, go to do whatever you need to do, and we're going to get back to some long and embarrassing stories. I would like to make a toast to the bride and groom. We all love you, and so does Daniel. L'chaim!
Break the glass.
Please don't break the glass. That's a souvenir. The bride cuts the cake. The bride cuts the cake. Hi-ho, the dairy-o. The bride cuts the cake. The cake. The bride cuts the cake. Hi-ho, the dairy-o. The bride cuts the cake.
Cake cuts the mouse. Hi-ho, the dairy-o.
Last week we were
Cake
in
cuts the mouse. Daniel looks at me. Daniel looks at me. Hi-ho, the dairy-o. Daniel looks at me. Why do you see?
If you'd all have a seat, please.
Oh, no fork.
The cake.
Can't.
Oh, too gentle, too gentle. Without the thumb, without the thumb.
Every baby.
Yay! And I'm sure all of you have read it word for word in great detail. But just to remind those of you who may have missed a few sections, I've got a few excerpts that I'd like to read from his book, with a few edited remarks. In June of 1939, this is Dad speaking, by the way. In June of 1939, I took a job in Brooklyn, New York as an investigator, where I met a Goyle. That's a girl, for those of you who are not from New York. A Goyle, Joyce Orland. Goyle. Yeah. She was wearing a tartan-colored outfit. She was petite, with a page boy-length brown hair and a winsome smile. That smile won me. My friend Jeff Schiffman was getting married, so I asked Joyce to help me buy a gift and have dinner with me in Manhattan. She agreed. This was our first date at Gimbel's. And then we went to Caruso's restaurant.
Been shopping ever since.
And then we went to Caruso's restaurant for a complete spaghetti dinner, which cost $1.25 each. I first scouted restaurants which I could afford. Then we took a bus to the Battery, and then we took a Staten Island ferry for a nickel each, and then we took the 69th Street ferry to Brooklyn, and I was almost seasick. And then we took a streetcar to Joyce's, where I met her parents for the first time, and they were playing pinochle. Joyce ushered me to the sun porch, but there was no sun at this time. It was evening, so we necked. Joyce objected to the necking and threatened to call her father. I agreed that she could, but she didn't. Thus ending the first date with my soon, 3 years later, to-be wife. We dated fairly regularly, except when she refused to see me. But she was my girl, and it was hard to see her at work, especially when she wouldn't even talk to me. Mama told me that if she doesn't want you, let her go. There are other girls. So I saw other girls, but there was only one girl for me. One Saturday night, she had refused to date with me, saying that she was seeing another man. So I took another girl to the Kenmore Theater in Flatbush. Joyce walked into the lobby with a girlfriend. So I persisted. In my earlier years, I decided not to get married until I was 30. I was 25 then. But I told Gertie, my brother Dave's wife, that I was going to marry her. I hadn't told Joyce, though. About 6 months after we met, Joyce took a cruise to Cuba with Rose Appleberg, who we just met, and May Stein, and I went crazy missing her. So when she got back, I got up enough nerve to ask her to marry me. She made me so happy when she refused. I was too scared and not ready, and I still kept asking, and she kept refusing for another 3 years. I had decided that I needed the degree of a Master's of Social Work and thought of returning to Philadelphia. So I challenged Joyce. Either she married me or I would leave for school. I went to school. We saw each other on some weekends, and after a New Year's party, as we were smooching, I again asked Joyce to marry me. This time she answered, yes, and I was in heaven. Everyone knew that something had happened, but we didn't tell. It was our big secret. I didn't like diamonds. Thank you. I didn't like diamonds, or I didn't have enough money for a formal engagement ring. And I found a lovely gold and pearl flower pin. But I also saw an exquisite little ring with a pearl and emeralds. The shopkeeper overheard me say that I wished I could buy that too, and he asked me why I didn't. Not enough cash, I said. No problem, he said. Here's a counter check. I asked him how he knew if the check was any good. And the shopkeeper said, Mister, I've been in business 25 years, and if I didn't know an honest face when I see it, I've been out of business a long time ago. Joyce was delighted with the pin, but really liked the ring. My mother wasn't impressed at all. So later she gave me some diamonds from her ring to get a real ring made. None of the family was to be told. Mama did like Joyce. Joyce spent considerable time, when she was supposed to be working, looking at furniture. Then a thought occurred to me. Who and how was the furniture to be paid for? I had already spent the money which I had saved for school. Where was the money to pay the furniture coming from? Joyce laughed. While she was working, she had been paying a stipend to her parents for room and board. Her father had been squirreling this money aside in a separate bank account. This was the furniture money. What a relief. We were to be married in the penthouse of the Granada Hotel in Brooklyn. So I thought I'd wear a sand-colored suit that I'd had for some time. Mr. Aller thought I should wear a new suit for the occasion. And of course, he was right. He was general manager of Cohn Goldman clothing stores, so I bought a dark blue suit at the price which Mr. Aller would pay. The appearance was a big improvement, and after that I became a fashion plate.
The price of that suit was $15. Wholesale.
That was the price that Mr. Aller would pay. That's Pappy, for those of you who don't know. The appearance was a big improvement, and after that I became a fashion plate and dressed to look prosperous. That I learned from one of my clients who was a Beau Brummel. To be prosperous, one had to look prosperous. We had a lot of guests at the wedding, and Harry Neckman was my best man. We did not have a photographer, so my box camera and I took the only photo of Joyce in the wedding dress, without a flash. But I didn't think very much about such things. All I wanted to do was get married, and that I succeeded in doing. But we almost didn't get married because no one knew Joyce's Hebrew name. I saved the day in the marriage by asking the rabbi, what would be if she was called Joyce in Hebrew script? He agreed, and that as a practical solution, and the ceremony, which had been held up 20 minutes already, proceeded. Mama and Papa escorted me to the chuppah, although I was in a hurry, so I dragged them along. So Joyce and I were married, and there was dancing and eating and drinking. My nephew Norman Gardner was dancing so violently that he fell. I won't say that he was drunk. Before the wedding...
Excuse me, Norman, I didn't say that.
And I didn't either. Before the wedding, my